7, 8.
We are the Bulldogs.
We
We
like
like it rough,
rough,
rough.
rough, rough. No
No
one
one
can
can beat
beat
us.
us. No,
No,
we're
we're too
tough,
tough.
tough, tough. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we fight to
to
the
the
finish.
finish.
We're
We're
in
in
it
it
to
to
win.
win it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Remake Hot Take podcast, where we play TV and film executives pitching remakes of our favorite and new media. I'm Marriya Schwarz.
And I'm Brooke Rees.
And this time we watched the new Netflix movie Senior Year with Rebel Wilson. Um, so first off, Brooke, would you ever go back to high school? Let's start there.
Yeah, I guess I was not like a popular kid by any means. Um, I was a very smart kid. I think I once ran into someone in the hallway and I had not seen them. I mean, first of all, I'm from a small town, so almost everyone it was a class of 150 kids and almost all of us had known each other since at least elementary school and had been in the same class. But that person was like, "The 3 things that I know about you are that you're smart, are that you're nice, and that you can sing." I was like, "Wow." I was like, "What a reputation I have for myself." And
Did
I
you
was like,
have a reputation for singing?
"I did." No, very much so. I I did not put on that much in college, but I do sing a lot. I do
Were you the Rachel of your high school? The Rachel from Glee?
what's her name? Rachel Berry? Walking through the halls, smart, preppy, can sing. Um, no, but I was in chorus from the time I was in 5th grade until senior year of high school. I did not have a lead or anything in chorus, but I was just yeah, I'm just quiet. I'm just a hidden talent, waiting to be discovered. But I literally think about that girl every day and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, stay true to your roots, Brooke. Stay smart, stay nice, and stay being a good singer. But I am still, I think, smart. But that was because
What were her characteristics?
I don't know, couldn't tell you her name. She did not leave an impression other than her impression of me. Um,
She's observant.
yeah, she's taking notes, walking around, it's Brooke Rees. Smart, nice. But I studied like crazy and I don't know that I would choose to go back to high school. There are, friends that I miss. I feel like there was, a good group of, guy friends that I had that were just, funny in different ways that, non-guy friends are funny. I don't know. I feel like they just, I don't know, they punch you or something. I know they just, assault you. My girlfriends don't do that.
I didn't
Um
realize you wanted this.
yeah, yeah. So Marriya, if you could slap me up a little bit. No, I think that it's just elder brotherly teasing. I don't know. I miss some of those guys. I just don't interact with men very often. I'm just yeah, I just miss the touch of a man. Um, so it was just a good group of people from high school that I do miss sometimes. But my sleep schedule in high school to achieve these high grades was literally to stay up until midnight doing homework, studying for tests, and then literally would wake up at 4 a.m., 4:30 every single day. And so I would get 4 hours of sleep, and then I would study, and then I'd be late to school because I was studying, and then I would get to school, and then I'd come home at 3, and then I'd, of course, nap because I, would crash, and so I would nap on the couch from, 3 to 5, then I'd have dinner, and then I'd, procrastinate, and then I would stay up again until midnight, and, the only fights that my parents and I had was that I was, studying too much and that I was up too late working on shit. So my time management skills back then were non-existent. And on the whole, I was just a very, very stressed out person, which is why I think there should have been more emphasis in this film. I was like, where are her like SAT scores? Like, what is
Right.
she? I was like, not once did we emphasize like the academic stress that I had. And this was public school. Let me just like reiterate for everyone. This was rural America public school. Like this pressure was from no one but myself to like do well. It was also like we were heavy into like future farmers of America. I was not involved in that club, but one day in math class, they were like, the cows are downstairs, and everyone found out that I had never touched a cow before. And they were like, this is blasphemy. And then I went down during like calculus and I touched some cows that were just like in our school downstairs.
What I am getting is that high school for you, you miss the touch of a man and a touch of a cow.
Yeah, it's those two sensations. If I could go back, just the sweet caress of a little baby cow, and a man. Um, so when I go back, no, I was in a very like stressed out mental state, but maybe just to say hi, like to like a reunion of such. But um, yeah, Marriya, tell us your trauma. Were you bullied?
More, I think high school is more like you're friends with people because they live close to you and they go to your high school rather than like they share your common
Chris?
interests.
Yeah, I
So
think that was yeah, I think we like all kind of realize that when we go off to college. And I think that's why like a lot of like high school romances like break up. I mean, obviously like the distance if they went to different colleges, but I think you also figure out that like I mean, a lot of life is like obviously like being in proximity to people. That's how you like meet new people. But I feel like in college, like like I've met like the majority of my friends either in classes that I was taking because I was interested in them. Like we're all interested in this. This is what we want our like major to be. Or like especially like clubs. Like we met in like Harry Potter club and like that we were all interested in Harry Potter and stuff like that. But I think I'm like unique in that I still have like my main core friend group from high school, but two out of the four of us are siblings. So it makes it a little easier to hold a friendship group together when they are bound by blood. But, and like I said, it was a really small, very, very small rural town. And like all of us knew each other since kindergarten. So that also like helps too. But it's definitely like a unique experience. I know like I'm currently living with my friend Megan, who I've known since like 6th grade, and we'll tell people like, "Oh yeah, like I'm like my roommate is like my childhood best friend," and they'll be like, "What?" And they'll be like, "Are you guys actually lesbian lovers?" And like you don't want to say it. And I'm like, "No, that's just we're just still friends after all these years." So I think it is a unique experience, but I'm still friends with them, so I don't need to go back to having a locker and carrying around books to and from class.
but yeah, to go back to like a previous episode, like I think that high school relationships are so much like location based. So it's like, were Bella and Edward really in love, or did they just live in the same district, the same
No,
school
but they
district?
were they were meant for each other, Marya. He waited 100 years
But,
to
like, imagine you're, like, eternal lovers and you're just like, "Yeah, we had a nearby bus stop, and that was the
yeah,
only
like,
thing
we
we
met
had in."
in chemistry. Yeah. That's funny. I watched this movie with Megan and with my roommate, and, that's, like, something that we were talking about. Like, at first, we're like, "This is not realistic," because it was basically like a millennial or older, like, wrote this script probably from their perspective of, like, the '90s versus, like, the woke culture or, like, what students are like now in high school, and it was obviously, like, a little bit of an exaggeration of probably what it is, but at first we were like, "Oh, that's totally not how it is." Like, there's definitely still, like, popular groups and, like, jocks and whatever, and, like, it definitely is not like that. And then I was like, I was like, well, we're like far removed from high school. And Megan literally gasped. She was like, what do you mean? And I was like, we're like 6 years out from graduation. Like, it's been like a decade since I was a freshman in high school. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, we're fucking old as fuck. I was like, dig the grave, Megan, hop in. Um, I don't know if that portrayal is like somewhat accurate of what Gen Z and below is like in high school right now. If they're like kind of spot on or if that's like totally not how it is and people are still like awful to each other. We're so
Interesting.
old.
Yeah. What did you think of the movie, like, in general?
In general, I really liked it. I think I'll like definitely watch this movie again. I thought it was fun. I thought there were some like glaring plot holes or things that they just like did not explore that I was like, okay, interesting. But I think like we both talked about that like when the dad is like giving his little like basically like his one and only monologue. He like we both like cried. I was like, oh my God. Well, one of the things that I find silly is that she like it's, about what's Rebel Wilson's character, Steffi? It's like she like one of the huge things about her is that her mom dies. And it's kind of like just sprinkled in there at certain points. But I love that the dad, he basically like has this huge emotional speech because she's like, oh, like your opinion doesn't count. Like I feel like we all say that sometimes. Like if my friends tell me I'm pretty, I'm like, yeah, but like you have to say that because like you're my friend or whatever. And he's like, no, like your friends' opinions count more than anything. And by the way, your dead mother told me that she loved you. And so that matters. And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, not the dead mother. We like cut to like a scene where she like obviously is meant to like look like she has cancer or whatever. But so it was definitely cheesy. Like it's definitely not, I don't think it's a cinematic masterpiece, but overall I really enjoyed it with some like things that I thought were funny that they were like glared over or omitted. But what was your overall impression, Maria? Did you hate it? Did you hate it?
I thought none of the characters, except for, like, the 2 best friends or whatever, like, had personalities that I could root for. Like, I hated Stephanie.
I did not though. That was like a thing. Like I was like, I feel like they're like too harsh on her.
I thought she was awful, and I think even in the end when she's, like, making this live video apology, like, if you fucked up my beach house, if I even had a beach house, and then you apologized to me via Instagram Live,
Yeah.
I would not accept.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a real apology.
Well, that was like a bit of the like absurdist nature that they were saying about Gen Z is like this total like social media focus or whatever. That's one of the things that I was like, oh, she literally should be arrested right now. Like she threw a party with minors where they were getting drunk. I was like, the police are right there. Like that was one of the plot holes. I was like, she's booked in jail like right now. She is not on Instagram Live. So you just didn't like the characters and didn't wanna root for her?
I don't know. I mean, I just felt like she was, like, kind of annoying, and then, like, I didn't really entirely buy the, like, beginning thing. Like, she's naturally very pretty. Like, it's like that, like, Lily James thing in Yesterday where she's like,
Yeah.
"I'll always be frizzy-haired Ellie," and it's like, "You're fucking Lily James, like, what do you mean?" Um,
Or like Anne Hathaway, Princess Diaries, like, it's
yeah.
always
It's
like,
like
"Oh, she has glasses and, like, she likes her friends. What a loser."
and, like, the Australian accent, I think the Australian accent is one of the more attractive accents, like Margot Robbie, Chris Hemsworth, like, I feel like that's not I don't know.
Yeah, like blonde, thin, young Australian woman.
Yeah.
Like, there's
It's like I've had to overcome so much in my life.
so much prejudice. Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't fully buy that,
Well, okay, so, like, when it started out, I was like, "Oh my God, this girl is so annoying," and she's, like, talking over, like, Seth and, like, all this annoying stuff, but then I could see like towards the end where basically like Seth and Martha, right? Martha, which I love that actress. She was in the Kristen Stewart lesbian Christmas.
I always think that that actress is Sarah Paulson.
Yes, that's what we were
Wait,
talking
but I
about.
looked at that
Literally.
on online and no one else agreed with like, I couldn't find any comparisons of the 2
No,
actors,
she's
and I was like, "Am I losing my mind?"
no, she's exactly like Sarah Paulson's sister cousin. Like she sounds and like her facial expressions, especially, looks exactly like her. No, I thought the same thing, but I really like her. She was in, I can't remember what the Christmas movie is, but it's the Kristen Stewart gay one. She was in that. She was a sister in that. She's really funny. Oh, one thing about that, like you're saying that you liked like Seth and Martha the most. What did they give their characters? They gave them like no life after. Like it was just like Martha was like, by the way, I'm gay. And but like there was no, I was like, well, I want to hear more about like her life though. Like she was just like the principal. I was like, did she ever find like more friends or like a girlfriend, a wife? And then with Seth, it's like briefly mentioned that he has like an ex fiance, but we really didn't like dig deeper into any.
Look, he was working in the National Archives, and he has some, like, really nice lines of dialogue, like, Tiffany is always, like, a bitch, and then she's like, "Mhm, just kidding," and then he, like, repeats that, and so I felt like he had a personality. I don't know, it was just the relationship between her and Blaine, like, freaked me out, like, even just, like, as a like, in the teen versions of, like, "We use it for handsies," and, like,
Yeah.
or, "Oh my god, stop, you're, like, so into me, did everyone see that?" Like, that pissed me off so much because it's, like, such a superficial relationship, which I know is, like, the point. I felt like no one had really any consequences, like, in the very end, Stephanie sells her car, I think, and that's how she
Yeah.
makes money, but other than that, like, no one has any consequences, like, did the, like, girls who drop her, like, face jail time? Like,
That's that
what?
was my main fucking point. They make such a big to do about like obviously that's like the inciting incident that leads her to be in this coma, which is like the main plot of the movie. And they like show Tiffany, it's literally a planned thing. And I was like, book Tiffany for attempted fucking murder. I was like, why would they show us that? And then they literally did not bring it up. Like I thought we were gonna have this like reckoning moment where like obviously Tiffany's like punishment is that she now has like a shitty relationship with Blaine and with her daughter because of her personality flaws. But I was like, attempted murder. Like literally. I was like, she needs more drastic consequences. It was so annoying that they brought that up. And I thought they were gonna weave it in with like, oh, like someone recorded it or something. It was gonna be on the tape. And then when they reviewed the tape, they were gonna see that it was like Tiffany's fault and that the girls purposely dropped her or walked out of the way or whatever. And there was gonna be some sort of like reckoning there, but there wasn't.
Well, they did have the recording, like, when she got out of the coma, they were like, "This video's been going around."
Yeah.
So they had a recording of the girls literally pushing the, like, catching people out of
Like
the way. So
daughters
it's
or
like,
whatever,
that
yeah.
should hold up in court. But I think also Blaine was so disgusting, and
Yeah.
nothing ever happens with him, and I think he even gets to join the little dance number at the end, and I'm like, "He doesn't deserve to be in the dance." Like, he's so disgusting, so I thought, like, maybe Tiffany was gonna, like, leave him or something,
Mhm.
but it's like, he's constantly disgusting towards Stephanie and towards every woman, and he's, like, cheering for these underage kids performing cheer at this, like, PTA meeting slash
Yeah.
auditorium thing, and, like, he's just so creepy, and nothing ever happens with it, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah, and there's even, like, a line that they make about, like, "Oh, you've always wanted to, like, fuck the prom queen," and she's like, "Well, you better hope that I pull ahead, otherwise you're fucking your daughter," and he was like, "No, I wouldn't do that." It was like, "Oh, he has boundaries. What a man." But
Mm.
yeah, he's really, really gross to the point where I mean, I guess maybe that's, like, the point that she would be, like, an idiot to, like, chase after that man or still want that or, like, it seems like he's also stuck in that immaturity of a 17-year-old or whatever.
Mhm.
But he's a white man, so he's he's allowed to maintain that affect. But I will say, like, I thought that they were like a bit harsh on her character. Like, if we just like go off that like first snippet of her becoming the popular girl or whatever, and like we see her motivations later on is kind of like flimsy motivation there, but
Yeah.
still, let's just go with that her motivation is that she wants to achieve this like American dream that her and her mom always talked about. But I will say, like, if we just look at like the one snippet, she like drives Seth to school every day. Like, she's not perfect, but like her
But she
mom,
doesn't need to because he drives to her house.
yeah, but like she still like drives with him every day.
But, like, he could just drive to school. He was just doing it because he had a crush on her. So it's like it wasn't he didn't have any other way to get to school.
Yeah, but, like, she still wanted to be friends with him, you know, you
Mhm.
like, it could have easily been, like, she's popular now, and she says to Seth, like, "I'm not driving you." Like, she still, like, spends the quality time with him. She has a boyfriend, and it's weird of him to ask her out to prom. Like,
Mhm.
she doesn't let him get it out, and, like, she's obviously, like, annoying, but it's weird for him to ask even though she has a boyfriend. You know, the basic thing is that she's kind of forcing her old friends into these roles that they don't wanna be a part of, like, into this new thing. But, like, I do give her credit that she's, like, trying to, like, still maintain her friendships, and she, like, makes a position for Martha, like, on the cheerleading thing, and she, like, sticks up for her, and she's like, "You don't know, like, how much work, like, Martha does for us," and all this stuff. And her mom just died. And I was like, so I feel like they're, like, a bit harsh on her. I mean, they explain at the end where it's like she basically only, like, used them as, like, pawns or whatever, so I get that. I feel like they're a little harsh on her. I feel like she obviously should have sought mental health care after waking up from a coma and probably should not have been allowed to go back to high school. Because I would be crying probably nonstop for, like, an additional 20 years,
Mhm.
knowing that I had been in a coma.
Like, I could be sympathetic, but that whole part where, like, she and Blaine are making out in the classroom during class, if I was there I've been in classes like that where, like, these 2 people are making out right behind me, like, immediate no. Like, you don't get any sympathy from
You're
me,
like,
like, that's so annoying.
I have not been in a class like that. There was like this one popular girl had her like locker next to mine in high school, and her boyfriend and her would just be going at it. And I'd be like, for the love of God, like, please let me get into my locker before you are into her vagina. Like, let me just get to second period here and hope that she has hers. Um, but yeah, I thought that was a really funny, like, cutaway, like, you think they're in some, like, back corner of the high school and it cuts back, and I laughed at that scene. I thought that was funny.
The other, like, big thing that I was really confused about is so she wakes up from the coma, kind of prompted because of this commercial about, like, limos for prom or something. Why was the TV on in her room? She's in a coma. Like,
Maybe it's like, I don't know, you're supposed to, like, talk to the coma patients while they're in a coma just in case they're
they just
like
left the TV on, and then they come in and they're like, "We were this close to freezing you," and I was like, "That's slightly alarming."
he was like, "We didn't have the money. It was gonna be just your head next to Walt Disney."
But there was also I think the worst thing Tiffany said in the entire movie was not all, like, the mean things, but that she was brining zucchini ribbons. That's the one that made me hate her the most.
You're like, unforgivable. Unforgivable moment. But yeah, Tiffany sucked too. Ugh, I just can't believe that she got away with it. But I don't know. I still liked it. Still thought it was kind of fun and funny. I think I'll watch it again.
And I think just the whole viral thing, just, like, that's not how viral social media works, like having a dance video from your school and going viral within the school is completely different than like outside. And I think the
Mhm.
idea that she got 49,000 followers or something just because of this random little dance thing, it just really it made me mad.
You're like, "It's not that easy." Yeah, I think it was, like, a bit, like, absurdist, their take on Gen Z and, like, what they're, like, motivated by or whatever. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that I think I literally am not old enough to understand, like, 55% of the references that were in this movie, like, to the just, like, older celebrities and, like, Britney dance videos, like, I was like, I can recognize that they're referencing something, but I do not know what they're referencing. I also am like, just like, my parents did a like horrible job of letting me consume like pop culture. Not that they like didn't let it into the house. They just like listened to CNN like in the car. So I was not exposed to any like music at all from like the 2000s. So I was like, yeah, I don't know what this is. Like, I thought the Beatles were like a hard rock group. Like, it was pretty bad. So I myself have not yet experienced the 2000s in music or pop culture, even though I was there.
But it's also like, who was this for? Because I felt like it was out of touch for kids today, but it was also out of touch for like us. So I was like, who is this movie even for?
I think it's for millennials. I think it was
Mm,
written by like a millennial for like anyone like 25 to like 40 years old.
mm,
Because I think a lot of the jokes that they have about like the Gen Z and about like the school being like that are things that they would find funny. The humor comes from like Bree's boyfriend presumably being like maybe gender fluid,
mm,
like probably bisexual, definitely like in the way that they're dressing, like dressing in like a dress and stuff. And I think that's supposed to be played for the comedic effect
mm.
for the 25 plus crowd. They're like, oh my God, that's hilarious. And I was just like, yeah. I was like, you go. And I feel like anyone younger than me is just like, that's fairly normal.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Yes, get it. Do your thing." But I think, like, some of the stuff like that is played for, like, an older audience, like, for laughs and
Mm,
stuff, so and I think I could see that because I didn't understand half the references that they were
mm,
saying. Basically, like, people like Rebel Wilson's age, she's, like, close to 40, right? If not 40? She's, like, older.
mm,
Yeah, she's 42. Rebel Wilson, 42. The idea that, like, it's just, like, all those things that, like, I picture, like, a 45-year-old named Tim that is, like, reposting on Facebook, where he's like, "Women aren't allowed to be women anymore, and cheerleaders aren't allowed to be cheerleaders anymore. Look at this stuff." And it's, like, the stupid, like, interpretive dance stuff for like inclusivity, like Martha's character especially, and like the rules that she's implemented are like they're not allowed to show trophies in the school anymore. They
mm.
have to have the tampon found art thing. Like I feel like it's like a lot of jokes like aimed at that of like either they're making fun of what older people think Gen Z culture is
Mhm.
like, or they're like being sincere in their comedy. So
I don't know, it just wasn't my favorite.
I still thought it was funny. I don't know. I think I'll revisit it.
Because I
I
felt like it was 13 going on 30, but 13 going on 30 did so much better.
I have not seen that movie.
Okay, well, that one's much better than this one.
Okay. I know she wears like a color block dress
Mhm.
that everyone it's like Jennifer Garner, is that who's in it? And Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, I don't think I've seen it. I think I maybe saw a portion of it. But did we want to do our pitches really quick?
Um, so the first one, I thought that senior year, this isn't the first major cinematic experience with that title. I am particularly thinking of High School Musical 3 senior year here. Um, So I thought that it would be interesting if they were in the same cinematic universe.
I literally had the same idea, Marriya. I wrote down like a bunch of pitches. That was one of them. I was like senior year, but she wakes up at what is it
East
called?
High.
Yeah, East High.
I think it would be funny though if they just appear in the background. Like it's a completely different like hero's journey, but
Oh,
it's
okay,
like
yeah.
this.
You just like see like Zac Efron like playing basketball in the gym when they're doing it. I like that. I like that a lot.
Can the cheerleaders please clear the graduation stage? We have to do our musical number now.
They're like the basketball players are performing.
On
The
deck.
everyone
Elsie,
in
please prep the piano.
lineup. Oh wait, you know what's funny is that they would be wearing like the same clothing styles since like Gen Z Y2K fashion right now is like early 2000s. So it'd be perfect. Like they'd be walking by in their little like camisoles, like what you're wearing right now, camisoles over like undershirts, and it'd be perfect.
I just want to see a mashup between Stephanie and Sharpay. I think Sharpay would really be into influencer culture,
Oh yeah, for sure.
right?
I think Sharpay would destroy Stephanie though.
Oh yeah.
With like one high note. She'd be a goner.
And then my next idea, there's that one point where she's throwing the party at the lake house or beach house or
Mhm.
whatever it is. And Martha's like, they're going to make a Netflix documentary about me. So I had the idea of turning it into a Netflix documentary about Martha. And
Yeah.
because I think that would also be a way to explore like the true crime element of like attempted murder.
Yes. I like it.
Like, I think just, like, a deep dive into how this happened and where, because those girls we never see again. I'm sure that they fucking booked it out of town because they had blood on their hands.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. It would be like, and here we are to interview the team manager who then gets promoted to principal. I don't know. Martha's looking kind of suspicious in this
Right,
scenario.
right?
This is an inside job.
And then another one it really pisses me off. I wish, like, there's no other way to do it, but, like, at least you have a graduation scene, maybe, like, sit all of the main characters together or something. So I was like, what if we had a movie where you have to sit through the entire actual graduation instead of our just, like, 5 key characters being
I
pulled
was
up
gonna say, why their graduation, they were not seated in alphabetical order.
at
It was
all.
like popcorn. I was like, that would never be realistic. And also, I was like, what are 30 people graduating? I was like, why are they on like lawn chairs in this tiny thing? And then it was just popcorn, and I was like, absolutely not. Like in high school, like we did like a graduation rehearsal. Like
Right?
we lined up. They had us in the bleachers. If everyone was talking, we got in trouble, we had to start again. I was like,
But, like,
"Mm-mm-mm."
there are ways to fix it because, like, they just jump up from, like, random places. But, like, like, when we graduated college, we were allowed to sit next to our friends. So just have
Mhm.
everybody sit next to each other. So it's like,
Yeah.
why would you climb over random people? Like, that just it doesn't make any sense. That really makes me mad. And then another one, it's all told from DJ Steve Aoki's perspective. Because you know that DJ just has, like, something interesting. He's thinking a lot of things about this, like, Tiffany's family.
He has a lot
Uh,
to say.
so I
He's
would wanna see a whole movie just from his perspective. What did he do earlier that day?
he's like,
What
"Oh my god, I can't wait till I DJ this huge party." And then he's like, "Pretty quiet, but catering was good."
I just think there's a lot of potential there. And then, finally, senior year, but COVID exists. If it's hard to swallow the whole, like, "You've been in a coma for 20 years," and stuff, try you've woken up into a global pandemic. Like, I feel like that would change a lot of things for her. Like, I think she would be less keen about going out into the world if there
Yeah,
was
she like
a
actually, I for sure am not going to a public school right now. An absolute war zone, but yeah, I like those.
Yeah. So those are all my little fast pitches.
Oh, I like them. Okay. Okay, my favorite one, are you ready for it?
Mhm.
Okay, everything's the same, but she wakes up and she doesn't have an Australian accent. I think that changes the vibe, right? It's like she wakes up and she lost it, and then we're led to question, like, was it all an act in the beginning? Did she just put on the Australian accent?
Would they ever address it?
I think it can go, one of 2 ways if I'm pitching this. It's either absolutely we do not address it, running gag the entire time. They start asking her to pronounce shrimp on the Barbie and she just says shrimp on the Barbie. They ask her to pronounce all these things, not addressed at all. They just like work that line into the dialogue.
Does the dad have an Australian accent?
Not a strong one from what I can remember.
Just
That comes down dead mom's genes. Um, or she loses the accent and the film is instead a quest to regain it. And so, the accent kind of changes throughout the movie. It flows like at first she like attempts it. It's a little more British at first. And then she's like, that's not quite it. She goes into a little like Scottish and then we eventually, like, at her graduation ceremony, at her little speech, we nail the Australian, the elusive Australian accent. So I think that would be a wonderful thing. Okay, she goes back to school, but it's her last year of middle school. I feel like if we were like sitting in on some like earth science classes, learning about like watersheds, I think that would be a lot more interesting, and it's like, what are they gonna do? It's just gonna be like the main like cinematic climactic moment is gonna be her like in the cafeteria mixing together with like the weird boys mixing together their like mashed potatoes and milk and ketchup into like
Is this the male touch you've been missing?
it is. It's the male cuisine. No, that's middle school.
I think it would be funny to see her versus a bunch of middle schoolers at, like, field day.
Oh, yeah, like, she takes it way too seriously,
Mhm.
and she's just, like, knocking them all over.
Well,
Uh,
then another kid gets in a coma, and that's movie number 2.
20 years later. I was gonna
It
say
writes itself.
I was gonna say another one of my pitches is that she wakes up and then she doesn't wear the seatbelt, and then when she does the rolling out of the car thing, immediate, another coma, back to square one. Let's take this back up when she's 65 and she qualifies for Medicare.
And in
Like,
his senior year again.
yeah, then it's just like senior care. Uh,
We could really franchise this.
I think we can. So the next one, boom, another coma, waking up, she has to be the hit in the nursing home, right? It's like she's at the assisted living facility and she's doing her promotions from there. So I
They're
like that.
trying to do Britney Spears with, like, canes and walkers and
Yeah.
fitting it in. I think there was also that part at the end where they, like, redo the trick where she, like, fell on, and I'm, like, surprised she
Mhm.
didn't have PTSD from
I
that, like
know. And to her, she was like, "Oh, I just did that 3 weeks ago. That's when I almost died, though."
Stephanie's confidence is unwavering and
Yeah, she
powerful.
no one's gonna let her down except for if Tiffany tells them to. But yeah. Oh, she wakes up, but it's because she was put into the Men in Black coma where where he wakes up after like a 45-year coma. So I like to think that she like wakes up and then like goes back to like a loving husband, but in the back of her mind she knows about the aliens that walk among us, and she like kind of reverts back to that mode while being in her senior year, and she can discover some of the aliens and other creatures that are lurking around the high school. So that's another scenario.
I've never seen Men in Black, so
Oh, you've never seen what's
these were a lot of concepts I didn't understand, but
in Men in Black, it's the main Will Smith's partner, famous actor, I cannot remember his name. He,
is he the one in black?
he's the other man in
The
black.
other one in black, okay.
So, a suit, and, he's, like, the main oh god, what's his name? It's like they all get initials. It's like J or something, I don't know, but it's
Well,
been
you
a
have, like,
long
a good chance of getting it if you just go through that.
there's, like, 26 possibilities for his name. Um, I don't know, K? Maybe it's K? I don't know.
K? It is K.
K?
Mhm.
Hell yeah, 3rd try. But he's like the like seasoned men in black and he at the end of the movie like goes back because you have to like cut all family ties once you are in the know about the aliens and are fighting and shooting them and everything. And he like goes into retirement and it ends with him coming out of a like 55-year coma and like getting back with like his wife and everything. So I don't know. I just think Rebel Wilson, she might have been like deep in the government. Like she was deep in the state. She knew some secrets and now she's out and back. They let her live her normal life again. But
I know that this isn't a Men in Black episode, but I feel like if we would pitch a remake, I would do Men in Dark Navy.
white after Labor Day. um, yeah, it's a continuing series. Yeah, they should have done that. Not like Men in Black 2. It was just like men in Pink Panthers.
You just go through the whole Roy G. Biv.
Yeah.
They really said pride.
Yeah, Men at Pride.
Are there
uh,
any women in black?
there's like a female character in like Men in Black 4 or something, but she's still Men in Black. The title, I don't think the title changed at all to reflect the gender equality movement. Well, what have you been watching lately, Marriya?
So I've been still trying to go on the Brendan Fraser filmography binge, but I've been slowing down because I just realized that I'm, like, really lazy when it comes to, like, physical DVDs. Like, when it's
Mhm.
something that I can, like, easily click on and stream, that's so much easier, but, like, I have to get up, grab my DVD player, it doesn't save my place, and, like, my DVD player is also really finicky, so it, like, unplugs every, like, 10 minutes, and then I have to go through the whole, like, "Piracy
No.
is not a victimless crime" thing over and over again.
You're like, "It's about to have a victim." Like, "I'm really done."
But so I saw Journey to the End of the Night,
I
which
thought you were gonna say Earth.
no. Well, it's, Brendan Fraser's, I believe, worst, Journey movie, and then I'm on Inkheart now, which I'm rewatching, 'cause I just wanna refresh my memory, but yeah, everyone, met him in Orlando this weekend in the Brendan Fraser fandom Facebook, uh, group, that I am in. And he seemed really sweet, and because it was the 30th anniversary of Encino Man, and so that was really sweet. And there's this woman on TikTok. I sent you this, but our followers, one of my friends and my father, have not heard this. There's this one woman that like works for GalaxyCon, and so she gets to, like, hang out with all the celebrities while they're doing, like, signings, and, like, she was giving Brendan Fraser a massage, and I'm like, "Should I quit every job I have and work for a Comic-Con?" So that's, something I've been wondering about, and then I've also been watching, Stranger Things to gear up for season 4.
Which comes out this Friday or something?
Yeah, Stranger Things comes out this Friday. It's the same day as Obi-Wan Kenobi, so there's gonna be, like, a lot of buzz and stuff about it. It's apparently a lot darker, so we'll see what it's like. And then I've been watching Lilo and Stitch, the series. I started crying because the whole point of the TV show is that they're taking all these like experiments and giving them their one true place, and I just think that's so beautiful.
You're like, "Oh my god."
I need Lilo and Stitch to put me in my one true place. Um,
Aw.
But yeah, you do a good Stitch, don't you, Brooke? You are my
Yeah.
favorite Hawaiian, so Lilo is after you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh my god, I can't do my Stitch. It's like,
It's all
oh,
right.
Hannah Min family.
That was so good.
My one friend is like a really good one, but
That's mostly it. I need to finish the filmography because I'm so close. I'm like what 7 away or something. So
ooh, well, we can't wait to hear an update on the next episode.
I feel like
uh,
people can wait. But what have you been watching, Brooke?
I need to watch Stranger Things. I recently watched season 1 and 2 just like a month or so ago, so I need to catch up on the season 3. So
Mhm.
I'm primed and ready to go. But I watched like the first like 30 minutes of Big Fish. Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I really like it. It's like one of my favorite movies.
Is
It's
it
so like
about a big fish?
yes and no. It's basically like this kid. It's Ewan McGregor, isn't it? He's the main character. But Ewan McGregor is this like kid's dad, and it's from like the perspective of the kid is like grown up now and is starting his own family and is a reporter, and the dad is like dying of some disease, and he goes home to visit him. They were like estranged at the end of his life there, and basically, Ewan McGregor would always tell these like really fantastical stories of his life that were like clearly like made up. Like he said that he like met like a witch in the woods and she showed him how he was going to die. And like he met a giant and like went on adventures with him and like just all these different things. And they're all like, like exaggerations of what actually happened, but he would never tell like the actual truth. So that's what like led to this estrangement with his kid.
Mhm.
But it's like the retelling of those stories, like from the dad's perspective and the kid's perspective, like as he's dying. And then at the end of the movie, he dies, but he's like surrounded by like all of the fictional characters, like in his story. And he's like, this is how I saw how I was going to die when I ran into the witch when he was like a little kid. Basically, it's just like a really sweet movie, but I could only get 30 minutes into it because I started sobbing. Like we hadn't
Mm.
even gotten to like a sad part, but I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And I didn't continue, but I'll probably finish that up. What else have I watched? I watched Jeepers Creepers. It's a horror movie.
Oh, I
It's
thought it was like a Scooby Doo.
like Jeepers
Yeah,
Creepers.
like, when Daphne, I think her thing is
Points.
Jeepers,
Yeah.
so I thought it was like a
No,
Scooby-Doo
I
live action.
wish. It's like a really disturbing horror movie where it's like based off of like Mothman and he like eats dead bodies and gains their powers. It's pretty graphic. um Jeepers Creepers, and what else did I watch? Oh, we saw Everything Everywhere All at Once in the theaters. That was good. Everyone gave it like a lot of hype, so I don't think I quite matched the level of hype that I went in there for, but I would definitely rewatch it. It was really good. It was a little bit long, but it was basically like had me hooked the entire time. Jamie Lee Curtis. Did I text you this? You were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's this movie." And I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis is like acting her Activiussy off. There are some sexual moments with Jamie Lee, and she performs them well. There's like a universe where they have hot dog fingers, and she is shoving those hot dog fingers into some unmentionable places. So, in essence, she kind of is working her.
Wait, what is the plot of this
Just
movie?
it's like this woman. Oh, and what's the actress's name? It's like Michelle. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Like Michelle Yeoh. I'm pretty sure is the actress. I think. Anyways, her husband and her own like a laundromat, and she basically is super in trouble with the IRS, and the IRS lady is Jamie Lee Curtis because she's been like writing off a bunch of like personal things as business expenses. And she gets there and realizes that basically there are like many universes, and she has been like given the power to switch back and forth between them in order to like save the world from Jobu Tabaki, who is like an evil force that's like going after the version of herself in like every universe and like destroying her other selves. So basically, she flips back and forth throughout all of these universes the entire movie while trying to destroy this Jobu Toboki. And Jobu is actually her daughter. Basically, she has like a strained relationship with her daughter. Her daughter's gay and they live with her father, so her daughter's grandfather. And she like won't introduce her daughter's girlfriend like as her girlfriend. She's like, this is her friend, and she's just really like hard on her daughter, and they have like a strained relationship. So it's basically about this mother-daughter relationship and also like her husband-wife relationship because her husband wants to file for divorce because she basically is like super stressed out and like not being like a good wife or a good mother. And so she like witnesses all these other universes with all these different paths that she could have gone down in life had she not like run away with her husband when they were younger. And basically comes to the conclusion that like she loves her current life. She's going to mend these relationships, but there are like more normal universes where like she just didn't go with her husband, like didn't run away from her parents and go with her husband, instead stayed with them. And she gets like attacked in an alleyway in that universe. And then she becomes like a professional martial arts like person who then becomes like a movie star, which I think is actually more accurate to the actress's background. She like is most famous for like, I think Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I've never seen it, but she's like a martial arts person herself and a very famous movie actress. And then there are more weird worlds where she's just like a rock. Like she's just a rock on a cliff. And then the weirdest one, which I did not like, it was just like absurdist to the point where I was like, I don't like this kind of humor, where it's a universe where everything's the same except they have hot dogs for fingers. So they don't have fingers, they just have these huge, like they're almost moving like the things outside of like car car places, like the the air things. They're just like these huge, wiggly, huge sausages. And in that universe, she and Jamie Lee Curtis, the IRS lady, are in love. And they shove their hot dog fingers in each other's mouths and they like flop them around. And she plays the piano with her foot. Like they use their feet for everything instead. I don't know. I did
Brooke, I
not
think
like.
you saw the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, it was Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, everything everywhere all at once.
Mhm.
But it was really good. I would definitely recommend seeing that. And then just been watching like YouTube. I've been watching Vampire Diaries a little bit with Megan. And that's basically been it.
Thank you so much for listening to Remake Hot Take. You can find us at Remake Hot Take on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Gmail,
Gmail.com.
YouTube. Yeah, Brooke, where can they find you?
They can find me at B_Reese Cup on Instagram and Rees Brooke 1 on Twitter and Reese.Brooke at gmail.com if they need to email me anything.
And you can find me, Marriya Schwarz, at everything.
Oh, that's cohesive. Okay.
Yay!
Go Bulldog.